there's a cosmic principle, right?
Yeah.
That the birth is always preceded by death. That's something that, like, in our Western culture might be a little bit more difficult to grasp, but in the East it's maybe much easier because they have the idea of reincarnation and the idea that death, it leads to birth, and that the result of totally self-giving, which means the death of our kind of like false independence, the death of our false ego, the death of maybe many of our comforts, that we have to let all these things die for there to be real life, true life.
Sure.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubha Das. It is Friday. It's Friday today?
Yeah.
It's Friday, June 6, 2025. It's episode 1619. Welcome to the show. Welcome, everybody. It is Friday here. Getting ready for our Kirtan extravaganza tomorrow.
Hoping we get good weather for that.
Hoping we get good weather. You know what? We're going to sing. And Lord Krishna or Lord Indra, whoever's doing the rain tomorrow, can be in charge of that. But we may get a bunch of peonies. That's what we're excited for. Kaustubha, how are you?
I'm doing good, Raghunath. Summer's kicked in.
Summer's fully kicked in.
City's like suddenly became brutally hot again.
You know what? That's one thing I definitely do not miss about New York City is summer in the city. But
I like the summer in the city.
No way. All you can do in the city is like shower to relieve yourself from the heat.
Go to the beach.
It's not. There's no beach in New York City. Come on, we know that.
In New York City.
Must we get into this? But
no, we don't have to. You're the one that's been so negative.
No, we don't have to.
I am physically exhausted because I've been doing jujitsu with the Alachua boys are here. There's like 6 virile, strong, the peak performance 18-year-old men at my house. And 7 now? Okay. I had to give them a run for their money.
One of them died? You injured one? He's in the hospital now. Down to 7.
But we did jujitsu. We're doing jujitsu now every day. And tell you, that's an exhausting sport for an aged man. You think you're in reasonably good shape until you fight an 18-year-old.
Why are you inflicting this pain upon yourself?
It's fun. I'm bonding with the kids. Anyway. All right.
Should we get into announcements?
Yeah, Miss Mayor, what do you got for us?
It's Tell a Friend Friday. Check out our Sage community platform and share our video promoting Wisdom of the Sages. You can like it and share it on social media to help us spread the word about the amazing community we have.
Okay.
We do have an amazing community. Spread it. Put it on your social media. There's a special video we have on our YouTube channel, so share that.
Cool, yeah.
The one right at the top. Also, we're pumping out more stuff on our Instagram now.
Yeah, those
If you're
reels.
following us on Instagram,
Stories.
share them.
Yeah.
Share them with people. Tag people. Send them around. It helps our algorithms. People get to know us, and sometimes it's a random way that people hear about Krishna, and one simple share, pressing a button, could change someone's life.
There you go.
Change someone's life.
Today.
Oh, yeah. Also, tomorrow's our Q&A day. The show will be at 8 a.m., but if you have questions that you'd like the host to answer, you can post them on the Sage community platform. Under the community chat, there's a questions for the host tab. Or you can email them to us at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com.
Questions for the hosts.
Questions.
You said questions for the host. There's 2 hosts.
Sorry. I apologize. It's unintentional. I should be more clear in my speaking.
Who were you?
Yeah, was I the host or was Kaustubha the host?
Or were you the host, man?
Yes, perhaps I'll answer
Hostess.
We don't say that anymore. We don't say hostess. We don't say waitress either, do we?
No, we say server.
Really?
Yeah, we've taken out the gender specific terms.
Flight attendant.
Congressman,
The flight
congressman.
attendants.
Mm.
We still say garbage man.
Only men do it.
It's one of those jobs that we, yes. Okay.
All right.
Right.
Mara, let's get into this. Mara.
You ready for today's nugget?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Are you ready, Raghunath? Yeah.
Just go on.
Okay.
What is your problem? Just this is normal conversation banter. You got issues. He's got issues today, man. I'm feeling it. Right?
I think I've already offended him. You've already offended him. We're all in trouble.
I just said, are
Sarah
you
made
ready,
me put a
Raghunath?
basket of clothes away during Joppa period.
What
She's
is
like,
going on? With
we really got
this show could be an adventure today. I'm telling it. I'm just warning listeners right now.
Today's nugget comes from Anais Nin.
Anais.
Is that how you pronounce it? Anais? Anais? Anais?
I'm sort of guessing. I'm not 100%.
And even the last name. This is French. We need Martine.
Yeah.
Let's unmute her. Martine, help us.
Help us, Martine.
She knows who this is.
Yeah, you said it right. Anais Nin.
Thank
Anais
you.
Nin.
Anais.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you,
Martine.
Martine. Now mute her again.
French correspondent.
All right. She says, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was
Mhm.
more painful than the risk it took to blossom.
Oh yeah, Raghunath.
And the day came when the risk to remain tight in the bud
It's more painful.
was more painful than the risk it took to blossom.
Makes me think of all of our peonies. They're all like
In the
these
bud.
tight little buds right
All in
now.
the bud.
You have to speak to them, Raghunath. You have to speak to them. Give them a
Let 'em know
little
they're safe.
encouragement. It's safe. Open up. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, it's one of the things. It's like you're feeling like you're holding on to dear life while another part of you knows it's time to let go. It's like there's a tug of war going on inside my brain. Like one side says, "Stay there, it's safe," and the other side says, "Stay where it's safe. Stay where you've always been." The other side is whispering, like tapping, right? Tapping on your shoulder. You've outgrown this. It's time to move on. Time to blossom, sir. You've been holding back. And it's like real growth isn't always about even adding something new. It's usually about letting something old die. Like some version of yourself. I like that how we say that version of ourselves because we always have these operating systems. The newer version, download the latest version. Some role I have been playing, some attachment I thought I couldn't live without. And that kind of letting go, it doesn't always seem peaceful. Sometimes it feels like everything's just sort of coming apart. Sometimes it looks like more like conflict with the world around me.
Yeah.
Sometimes with my own mind.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but there's more than the cracking open or my own discomfort. And that can be sacred. We were talking about sacredness yesterday.
Yeah.
That cracking open or that birth of the flower can be sacred. And it means like a shifting away of something and to like reevaluate. Something deeper is trying to be born. You know, you don't get to blossom without first breaking out of the bud.
Right. There's a lot of things in what you've said and a lot of things in what she said too here, Raghunath. When I look at this quote first, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Or let's say fearful, maybe, right? More fearful. Oh, I can't stay the way I am anymore. I've got to change now. Then you change, you know. It's part of the way that when the way that the yogis or the yogic texts speak, they say that there's really three applications. The mind's like a computer, and there's three applications there. And one is called the manas, like the most fickle one, right? That's the really impulsive part of the mind that just, it doesn't reflect at all. It gives impulsive responses. I like this, I don't like that. But that's super, then there's the reflective side of the mind, or the reasoning side of the mind, which takes in information and processes it and weighs things, called the buddhi. But the crazy thing is that the manas is the part that decides, right? It's not only has this instant reaction, but it makes decisions, and essentially those decisions are this will be pleasurable, or it won't be. So I either choose it or I refuse it.
Mm.
But something has to happen for us we have to get to a point where it becomes convinced. The most fickle part of our psyche becomes convinced that I'm better off moving on, that I will be happier when I move on. I use the example a lot of like the alarm clock. When the alarm clock goes off in the morning,
Yeah.
the manas, the impulsive part of the mind just is like, oh, this is terrible. And you belong right here in the bed. This is soft, it's warm, this is good. This happiness is right here.
Mm.
And then the reflective part of the mind, the buddhi, comes along and says, no, it's time to get up. It's important that you get up. And then there's a tension between the two. But eventually what happens is, even though the manas, the impulsive mind, is fickle, the intelligence, the buddhi, says, you want to avoid pain. I understand that. You want comfort and you want to avoid pain. But you're going to experience a lot more pain and suffering when you get fired. When you lose your job, all the pain and discomfort that comes with that is going to far outweigh getting out of bed right now, right? And then you say, you're right, then the manas accepts that and says, I don't want pain, I want comfort, I better get out of bed. And it decides to get out of bed. And so I think, maybe all or so much of our evolution in life is when we come to that point when we realize I'm better off changing. Or here, as you were saying, I think it has a lot to do with I'm better off letting go, like finally letting go. If I let go, I'll be happier. And that letting go is it's maybe, the big challenge that we have.
Mm. Cultivating buddhi.
Yes.
We can actually, yeah. Cultivating buddhi is what propels us into change.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And letting go and letting things die, or not being afraid to confront the lower nature. We're at this really interesting place in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the beginning of the story of Krishna's birth.
Right.
And we just heard about it. It was like the last verse that we read yesterday, and then we'll get back into that subject today, that Krishna's birth is preceded by quite a few other births, including the birth of his brother Balaram, and kind of simultaneously with his sister Subhadra in a unique way. But these are his different energies, his different potencies that are appearing. But even before all of them, there's 6 brothers, 6 sons of Devakī that are born and that are all killed by Kamsa. And the death of those children, the death of the you could say the brothers of Krishna, this is one of those places in our text where the great teachers of it say this can be understood not only literally but also symbolically.
Right. It's an allegory, right? You got to kill. They represent like fear and lust and
the lower nature has to die
before you can welcome the Lord into your home or into your life,
into your heart, into your consciousness. Yeah,
sure.
For the divine consciousness, or for Krishna to take birth in our mind or take birth in our heart, the space has to be created.
Are we going to get into that, what they represented today?
We can get into that, Raghu.
That's a good one. This is a great one.
I was hearing I was listening to this YouTube video yesterday, and it was like a discussion with these different philosophers and theologians. Jordan Peters. You get these crazy videos now, right? Because you can just produce stuff with AI. I think it's people they just take, okay, here's a bunch of videos. Here's what I wanted to say. Now edit it and create like a human voice that's kind of a narrator to it. And it's so mechanical, it's like ridiculous. It's like, Jordan Peterson's deep insights perfectly align with the Bible's teachings. It just kept doing that like every time.
Right.
But there was an interesting conversation going on that was just, it had a lot to do, these are mostly like Christian theologians speaking, and they were talking about how Christianity has presented the idea of the resurrection, Christ's resurrection, and the way different Christian denominations have processed that or have explained it. Whereas some say his death on the cross is our salvation, and that's what it means, that Christ died for our sins. And where others understood it more as like, and they supported this with quoting different verses, that it's also teaching that we all are meant to bear our own cross, and that we're all meant to, something inside us has to die in order for there to be birth. And they kept going deeper and deeper into that. And one of them said that like resurrection is like the signature of the divine. And he said it was like God's signature. And it's a validation of what was accomplished on the cross, that it was not only symbolic of new life, but it establishes this cosmic principle that the result of total self-giving is not death, but life.
Right.
And
You hear that again and again.
yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it was real? The death of Christ was an allegory?
I don't believe that Jesus.
What?
I might get canceled by a lot of people.
I might cancel you.
I don't believe that. I don't believe in this idea that we were all born into sin, and Jesus dies for our sins.
Oh, I don't.
And all we have to do is accept that, in theory, or accept that, and then we're saved.
I just think they worded it wrong. I really feel like they can hold hands with the Vedic teachings, but the way they've worded that, you're born sinful, and all you have to do is accept Jesus,
And there's nothing else you can do.
and you can't do anything. Why
And
even bother to be good?
Even trying to do it through your works is demonstrating that you lack faith.
Yeah, I don't buy that,
Right.
and I don't know if every Christian buys it either. But
Well, that's what I'm saying. There were different.
Yeah.
There's different. They were discussing it from different angles. I was appreciating this one person, the way that he was speaking and resonating, that there's a cosmic principle, right?
Yeah.
That the birth is always preceded by death. That's something that, like in our Western culture, might be a little bit more difficult to grasp. But in the East, it's maybe much easier because they have the idea of reincarnation, and the idea that death, it leads to birth, and that the result of totally self-giving, which means the death of our kind of like false independence, the death of our false ego, the death of maybe many of our comforts, that we have to let all these things die for there to be real life, true life.
sure,
So total self-giving isn't a death. Someone might look at like, how can I give of myself totally? Everything would die. I could never become a monk. I could never become this. I could never become that, because everything would die. Well, actually, that leads to the complete rebirth. Not that it requires being in some kind of particular order, but that it does require that, a full giving of oneself, which means letting go of so much, or symbolically the death of so much. So we get that right here at the beginning. of the
Sometimes
10th
sitting
chapter.
still is just too painful, and we get so frustrated that there's no other option is to grow.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yes, that's true. In other words,
Imagine if
not
you just
progressing.
Imagine if I just turn on the podcast one day on Zoom and you're like, I can't do it anymore.
I'm sick of it.
I'm sick of you. It's time for me to grow.
You're gonna die to me today.
From your death is my life.
I'm like a phoenix. Mara, okay. Interesting stuff, Mara.
Me and Kaustubha known
Very.
each other for a long time. Me and him. I was just thinking, man, a long time.
Yeah.
Our relationship is durable. It can...
Who knows?
That's true.
Nothing is.
Oh, okay, right.
No, I mean,
The
people have been
dissolution of
married for a
wisdom
long time.
changes.
Decide, oh, okay, you know what? We're not going to be married anymore.
Right.
You're
I
thinking about
told you the show could go anywhere today, Mara. Didn't I tell you?
Yeah, you did.
He's in a weird mood today.
Yeah.
All right. Can we make it through the end of the show? I suppose that's our challenge just today. One day at a time.
We're doing good.
One day at a time.
Oh,
All right. Why don't you chant those
so
mantras?
physically sore.
Maybe that's what it is. He's a little beat up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hit it.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati tamas loke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in class in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes to the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Right there.
Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10. It's so great to be in Canto 10 every day.
It's
Like,
incredible.
I wake
It's gonna
up-
be for a
I-
long time.
I wake up in the morning and go, we're on Canto 10. It's a good feeling. And this is a great part. The advent of Lord Krishna.
Oh yeah.
We're going to get into all these prayers of Devakī. It's so
Prayers
good.
of the demigods to
Yeah,
Krishna in
prayers
the
of the
womb of
demigods.
Devakī. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Raghunath.
So text 65 and 66.
No, we read this yesterday, but let's read it again because this is right on the topic we're hitting today.
After the departure of the great Saint Narada, Kamsa thought that all the members of the Yadu dynasty were demigods, and that any of the children were born from the womb of Devakī might be Vishnu.
Okay. So he
Hearing
had kind of chilled down, right? He was about to kill his sister.
He let one go. He let one of
He
the
let it
babies,
go.
like, yeah, I'll let this one go.
Yeah, right. He even when Vasudeva had promised him, I will give you all my kids. You can kill them all if you want to. Just let your sister live. And then when the time came when he presented that kid, Kamsa, he was kind of cool. He said, no need. It's only the 8th child that's meant to kill me, so everything's okay. And then Narada said, no, we got to stir this up.
Yeah.
And said, no, you know what? The demigods are taking birth. Even these other kids, they can be your enemies. And so now he's changing his tone.
Yeah. Fearing his death, Kamsa arrested Vasudeva and Devakī. It's important to understand, like, Vasudeva and Devakī, they were in jail for a long time.
Yeah.
They were sitting in and those weren't like, it wasn't like a federal prison where it's sort of comfy. It was like dungeon style.
Are you sure about that?
Federal prisons comfy?
I
Some
think
of them are club
prisons are a little
fed,
bit
Mara.
more
Come on.
comfortable. Come on, Mara. Come on. White collar crimes.
But not all federal prisons are white collar crimes.
Not all federal prisons, but
Okay.
some are.
There are
What do they call
they're
them?
comfortable ones. This was not one of the comfortable ones.
Okay.
I don't think they had to join a particular gang
But how do you know that? How do you know that it was particularly dungeon-like?
because all the prisons were like dungeons.
They were cheap.
Okay, well that's solid evidence right there. Okay.
You think he's gonna throw a couch in there for Devakī? He's imprisoned
Right?
her.
I don't know.
Kamsa arrested Vasudeva and Devakī and chained them with iron shackles. So they're not only they in a
Okay,
prison,
that sounds rough.
iron shackles.
Well, what
Can
else are you gonna make the
imagine what
shackles
that
out
must
of?
be like? Suspecting each of the children to be Vishnu, Kamsa killed them one after another because of the prophecy that Vishnu would kill him.
Okay.
We mentioned that thing about this is like a horror story, horror movie.
Right.
And then Mukunda Kishore wrote me later. He's a regular other. He never misses his show. He said, I first read this story to my children when they were little, and they both burst into tears. And I thought, okay, I've destroyed their affection for Lord Krishna. It is a really scary story.
Yeah.
Well, there's more
Kings-
to it. We'll get to that.
Well, of course there is. It's the birth of God, but that doesn't take away from its goriness.
Well, there are things that will hopefully take away from its goriness. That's my point. When you look at it in the broader context.
Yeah, the birth of God. I get it.
Well, there's more to it than just the birth of God.
Well, that's okay.
Text
He
67.
is ornery today, Maris.
King's
the birth of
greedy for
God. I
sex
get it.
gratification.
Let's move on.
I'm very happy in the morning, Mara. You tell him that.
You usually are. but
I'm like a
we're-
happy
I'm
pappy.
just saying today, there's something going on. Raghunath. Something.
Kings greedy for sense gratification on this earth almost always kill their enemies indiscriminately.
Whew.
They're just like executing people, poisoning people,
Oh, man.
sabotaging people
Yeah.
to satisfy their own whims. They may kill anyone, even their mothers, fathers, brothers, and friends. That's a Taj Mahal thing.
But to kill your mother, that's even worse than killing your father.
It's
Yeah.
been done, Mara. Hold it. Now hold it. One
I
moment.
just read about
Why is killing your mother worse than killing your father? I'm interested to hear your explanation of this. Killing your father's not so bad?
this. Yeah.
It's not so
See,
bad.
Awesome.
now you want equal rights here?
Yeah, you want equal rights?
Equal rights one time, when you got to, what was it? When we were working in the
Now
coal
Raghunath and I
what
are
was
on the
other
same
job
side.
we were mentioning? What's the job we just mentioned that only men? Oh, garbage men?
Garbage man.
No equal rights there. You guys keep that. The men, you can keep that one.
I think there's
And when
garbage
it
women
comes
out
to,
there.
you're going to kill one of these. Should I kill the man or the women? Well, you don't kill a woman.
Well, it's not just a man or a woman. It's your mother and your father.
Well, okay. So
know, okay,
fathers
so
can't be
kill the
just as
father
wonderful
first.
as mothers?
We're going to save the children and we're going
They
to
can be
save the
very
women.
wonderful.
It's the Titanic time.
Yeah.
Okay, women and
first.
children, you get in the boat, and me and Kaustubha standing here with the orchestra as it's going down.
Yeah. And the orchestra's all men.
And the orchestra's a bunch of men just like having to tough it out.
Shall we move on to text 68?
Okay, all right. But we just had to clear that up.
Well,
your father's
that
also-
being said, we're okay. We will
Even
go.
road rage. He wrote on the message board, "Mother, it's your mother."
He said mother
listen,
is
we
mother. That doesn't
agree.
mean anything.
We agree. We are saying we will go down with the ship. You get in the boat with your.
But appreciate it. That's all we're asking for. Some
All we're saying is appreciate the stuff we do.
Yeah.
Here, Sargra.
Mayor didn't-
Great appreciation.
Sargra, he says, Aurangzeb, he was
Yeah.
the famous colonist in
I mean, worse than a colonist. You know,
they came over and they just killed everyone.
Yeah.
Scroll back to that. What she said.
terrorist.
I'm ready to let's unmute her. She can tell us the whole story.
Okay.
How about Aurangzeb?
Aurangzeb.
Aurangzeb, yeah.
Well,
Killed
she
two
kept
brothers
the,
to get the-
she killed 3 brothers to get
He
killed 3 brothers to get to the throne.
And he
Because if
impris-
you're
and he
the third
imprisoned his own
brother, you're not
father.
going to get the throne. The first brother gets the throne. The other guy just gets some
Right.
land. So he killed 3 brothers at 14.
What did he do to his mother?
I don't know. But he imprisoned his father.
Yeah.
He imprisoned his father.
Yeah. Okay.
Then she wrote, I think Jiva G mentions it in the commentary. I was like, since when did Jiva from Bhakti Recovery Group?
Even
do
she life
recovery?
coach?
Jiva,
I didn't know
life
she had
coach.
written a Bhagavad Gita commentary.
Jiva Goswami.
The 12 Sundarbas.
Martine is like, so much killing this morning. We're sorry, Martine. I can't change history. People killed each other, but I won't. We don't kill.
There's a brighter side to this. Raghunath gets it. It's
There's a brighter side to the story. There's the birth of God is going to come.
All right.
okay.
First, you
68.
first you got to kill some people. In the previous birth, okay, so this is interesting. You want to hate Kamsa? Well, he's got a backstory too. In his previous birth, Kamsa had been a great demon.
That doesn't make it any
Kalanimi.
better.
Yeah.
He's been twice, demon twice.
His name was Kalanimi, and he was killed by Vishnu. You think he would have been liberated, but I guess maybe he had to double down on his demon. Upon learning this information from Narada, Kamsa became envious of everyone connected with the Yadu dynasty.
All right.
So Narada came in and said, listen, you were a demon in your previous life, and you were killed by Vishnu, and you got to be killed again by Vishnu.
And all the devas, your enemies, have taken birth in the Yadu dynasty.
Imagine that.
You know?
Imagine if like a Narada came to say to you, hey, Kaustubha, all these people that there's a guy that wants to kill you, and there's a bunch of people that you know, they all want to kill you too. And they're all disguised as human beings, but they're all born to kill you. That's enough to spin somebody's mind right out of control. And that's exactly what he did. But the interesting thing about Kamsa, the more he spun out of control,
The
it was like
more-
he's friends with Krishna. He's friends with Krishna. They're
Yeah.
all friends with Krishna.
Krishna,
Krishna's
Krishna,
here.
Krishna.
Krishna's there. Krishna's everywhere.
Yeah.
It sounds like Krishna consciousness.
It's a type of Krishna consciousness.
It's a type of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, and
Where you
it's
think that-
purifying.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, right?
Yeah. Whereas if you have worry that someone's out to get you, and this is not a joking matter because there's stalkers, there's weirdos, there's people who are out to get you. People, recently somebody escaped from jail, and the person that put him into jail is like worried about his family. These are like real material worries. And those can really just that alone,
Eat
that
you up.
know that there's a murderer out there that escaped from
He's losing it today, Mara. There's something going on.
Did we
with-
start this with like this is really serious?
How much can we talk about murder this morning?
My plan was to direct this in a very positive way. I've tried several times, but you snap at me. But yeah, the birth of God, whatever. Let's talk about murder.
My point is this: if you have some crazy that's escaped from jail,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to go to bed at night if I know they want to get me.
Why is this so funny?
I'm just saying, I don't know why it's funny, but all I'm saying is this: these things are real things that happen.
Okay, right.
And my point is, it would kill you from the inside out. But if that same person was Krishna, you'd be like, this is ecstatic. I mean, there must have been some ecstasy that he was feeling as well as the anxiety, because it brings you higher and higher. And I think this time Kamsa was liberated. Wasn't that true?
Well, he gets killed by Krishna. Is there a description of him entering Krishna's?
Remember how Krishna pounded him, broke his
Yeah,
collar.
pounded him. I wonder if there is mention. Maybe Nityananda Chandra can look that up. Is it like a
The light that enters Krishna's
Shishapal kind of
body.
thing?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
Okay.
Oh, Sargrahi says, "I love Sargrahi. She's got some. She's like I study like the Krishna comic books. She studies actual sacred literature, and she's got. Well, not that the comic books are not sacred, but
Yes.
she's got some like background info, and she says
Okay.
Kalanemi was from Hiranyakashipu's family.
Sure.
And she says,
Yeah.
"Isn't that cool? Yeah, that is cool."
You know, in Hridayananda Maharaj's Mahabharata, the great
Mhm.
Bharata, right? It talks, I believe it's Kalanemi that takes birth as Jarasandha, right? He enters into the,
Oh, yeah.
and it was really creepy. He's like, he's kind of like the leader of all the demons. He's really, really
Wait a second.
evil.
Kalanemi is Kamsa. How can he take birth as Jarasandha? They're both
No.
alive at the same time.
He's not Kamsa, is it? Did it say that?
Yeah, Kalanemi was Kamsa in his last. Oh, okay. Kalanemi, the soul. Yeah, he was Kalanemi. That makes no sense because
Who said that?
Kamsa is Kalanemi in his last life.
Said who?
We just read it.
Did we?
In this previous birth, Kamsa had been the great demon named Kalanemi.
Okay, there you go.
Be killed by
Okay,
Lord
he wasn't Kalanemi. Who was the one that took birth as Jarasandha? Someone help with Sargrahi?
Someone find that out. That
Okay.
okay.
I'm forgetting
This is
the
the
name.
stuff I live for. This little Hare Krishna trivia,
Okay.
which, by the way, we're gonna get this 16-year-old kid from Mayapur who came up with the Prabhupada game. Did I tell you about
Okay,
that?
we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do
The
that.
Prabhupada game. There's gonna be a walk on Wednesday.
Okay, but let's stick with this for now. Do you remember that this demon, he takes birth as Jarasandha, and then when he meets with Vyasa's mother, why can't I think of her name? Satyavati.
Satyavati.
When he meets Satyavati, he's trying to enter into her consciousness and control her. Do you remember that? And she's like holding it off.
Yeah,
Remember
that was
that?
pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was creepy stuff. These demons. So, any case, why don't you read the last? Mary, you got something?
Well,
Krishna.
according to Google, yeah, Jarasandha was the incarnation of a Danava called Viprachitti.
That's not the way I remember. Does
That's
it have
not the way I
another name?
remember it either.
Yeah, the foremost among the sons of Danu and Kashyapa.
Anyway,
Somehow
we're not
I'm getting
accepting
Kalanemi.
we're not accepting your answer, Mara. But we love you. at this point.
Rejected.
Aaron Ariskin also, he accepts my answer. He came up with the same info.
Veto.
Yeah, maybe it's a
Thank you,
different name
Google.
for the
You know,
same
you guys are
person.
Yeah.
both using Google, and we're using H.D. Goswami's Mahabharata.
Okay, now read the last verse here, Raghunath, and then
Kamsa,
yeah.
the most powerful son of Ugrasen, even imprisoned his own father, the king of the Yadu, Boj, and Undaka dynasties, and personally ruled the states known as Surasen. So he took over the whole Mathura, that whole area,
He's killing babies. He's
killing
imprisoning
babies,
relatives.
imprisoned his father. He's gonna,
He's spinning out of control.
yeah,
His fear. It's driving him nuts. Okay.
yeah, and that's that's a good little lesson there. Fear can drive you nuts.
Yes, Marin, please note that one down. So let's talk about the sons, right? And how the great Vaishnava commentators describe the symbolism in all of this, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Devakī represents the womb of devotion, where devotion, where bhakti takes birth. Okay. The 6 sons of Devakī represent those 6 aspects of our lower nature: lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, and envy, or we could say hostility, right? That these, let's hear them in Sanskrit, Raghu,
Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha,
etc., etc.
etc.
And so the idea is that here's a trivia question for you. What does Kamsa represent?
I used to know this. I don't know.
He represents fear, or he's in a constant state of fear himself. But it's also the idea here is that we need to have like a healthy type of fear of our own lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, and envy.
That's
good.
good.
Will kill that inside us. Right?
That's good. We need some impetus.
Yeah, that's right. We need to look. We need to say, this is a problem. This is growing in me. It needs to be killed. I need to kill my lust. I need to kill my anger, my greed, my madness, my illusion. And then when that's killed, then a birth takes place. But there's a birth before the birth of Krishna.
There's who's born before Krishna?
Who's
Balaram.
in the Balaram? Yeah, so Balaram
carrying the way.
That's right. Balaram appears in the womb of Devakī, representing spiritual strength or representing the Guru. And then finally Krishna appears, representing bhakti or divine love. So the whole thing in one sense is symbolic, that within ourselves we need to in a sense fear or size up the problematic situation that within us we have this lower nature. It should be killed by that, and that creates the space for the birth of a connection with Guru and ultimately for divine love, for Krishna consciousness.
How many times can we say kill and murder before 8 o'clock? Anybody got a running number on this yet?
Okay. And there's one more thing that I wanted to mention, though, Raghunath.
Yeah.
There's a background to these kids.
Oh, yeah. They were the Vasus?
They were the sons of Marichi.
The sons. Oh, the Maruts.
And they offended. Well, they mocked Lord Brahma. And they were cursed to take birth as demons. I think twice.
The sons of Marichi.
Yeah, and so this immediately killing them while they're young was a way of moving them more quickly back to a better life.
Yeah, it's one of these things. We don't even understand how this universe works like that. Also, and the killing of those sons, which is heinous. If you zoom way back, they had to go do their time on this planet.
Right.
Then they had to be released. It's one of those mysteries of the universe. It's hard to understand because it's right in front of our face.
We never. What's going on in the background?
And it's from one vantage point. The vantage point is, I'm alive, they're alive, now they're dead, this is horrible. But there is a benevolent hand behind all the changes that are happening, as hard as that is to digest. Write that down.
Swallow it.
Swallow that horse pill.
Okay. You know, that which reminds me of that story, which is, and it's told in different ways, but I recently read it like from like some Taoist perspective or something like that. But it says that there's this farmer, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's the matter? Why can't you get excited about what
We
I'm
tell
about
this
to
story
share?
all the time.
What is the story?
The farmer's walking the horse. He
No,
finds a horse.
wrong. You're totally
And he
wrong.
carries the horse. And the horse says,
What?
"How can you carry that horse? Let the horse carry you."
No, Raghunath. First of all, it's not that story, and second of all, you're butchering that story. And even that story, I probably haven't told in like 3 years.
Okay. Right.
No, there's a story that like this man, like he comes across a wild horse, you know, kind of runs into his property, and he could kind of adopt it. And his neighbors say, "How fortunate you are that you have this wild horse that just fell in your lap."
And he says, "Could be."
Could be. There you go. Could be that unfortunate, or could
Could
be
be
that
that
there's
unfortunate.
something out, right? It looks externally on the surface, it looks like great fortune, but maybe it's the cause of misfortune. We don't know, right? And so then his son is trying to ride the horse, but it's a wild horse. And his son falls off, it breaks his leg. Oh no, it's so unfortunate. Your son broke his leg. It's such misfortune. What does he say?
Could be.
Could be. That's right. And then after that, there's some kind of war going on, and the army comes, and they're just kind of like conscripting. Is that the word? Conscripting everyone into the army.
Mm-hmm.
But they take everyone, all the young men, but his son, because his son has a broken leg. Everyone says, "Oh, you're so lucky that your son broke his leg at just the right time. You're so fortunate."
Could be.
Could be. Yeah, like that. And it keeps going on like that, right? It's like things that seem like really the deep devotees, they don't even say could be. They kind of
What do they
accept,
say?
they say they kind of read good fortune, they read the hand of God in everything, and they accept it as a blessing. Right? They accept everything as a blessing. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So, in any case, these but one more thing has to be mentioned about these sons is that we're in the first chapter of the 10th canto. There's going to be 90 chapters in the canto, and it starts off by hearing about how the sons of Devakī are killed, these 6 sons. But in the 85th chapter, when we're almost at the end of it, you are really, what is going? You're twitching. What are you doing?
I'm physically exhausted from these young men.
Maybe
Wrestling
maybe
young
you shouldn't
men.
do that anymore.
No, it's good for me. It's good for
Is
me.
it?
It is. In the bigger picture of things, it is. Because
Okay.
zoom out.
All right. Is it? Could it be? Could be.
I think you need to wrestle some young men.
I don't think I do. But
I'd love to see us do a wrestling.
in any case,
Jiu-jitsu enough.
in any case, Krishna, in the 85th chapter, Krishna is going to go and retrieve these sons and bring them back to Devakī. Right?
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful scene. And they must still be young because she breastfeeds them. She's crying and they're crying and she's breastfeeding them. And it said that when they drink that breast milk of Devakī, they're taking the remnants of it's prasad, it's Krishna prasad.
Very cool.
Right? And in this way, they achieve divine love for Krishna themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's good what happens to these sons. It's just like when Ganga was killing her children, right? Sometimes killing children is okay.
Write that down. Hare Krishna, Kaustubha. It's not 8 o'clock yet. We're talking about infanticide.
All right. So it's not so gruesome. It's a good. Everything's good. Everything's good. All right, Raghunath.
All right.
Shall we move on to chapter 2?
Well, yeah, it's 49. We got a couple verses in us.
Yeah, I think so.
Chapter 2.
What's entitled?
Chapter 2 is Prayers by the Demigods for Lord Krishna in the Womb.
Oh, okay.
Prayers by the Demigods for Lord Krishna in the Womb. Isn't that amazing? Krishna's being bored. All the angels come and offer prayers.
It's nice.
Right? Christians say angels. We say demigods. Just higher beings.
Higher beings. With the ability to float or hover
hover, float. They have wings, or they don't even need wings. They don't necessarily need wings to fly.
That's right.
Okay, text 1 and 2. Sukadeva Goswami said, under the protection of Magadharaj, Jarasandha, the powerful Kamsa, began.
Under the,
Okay.
you're under the protection of Magadharaj Jarasandha.
Okay, got it. So Jarasandha, he's the big sort of, almost like an emperor, right? So
The
Kamsa
province
is
called-
married to his daughters.
Acha.
He's married to 2 of his daughters. The powerful Kamsa began persecuting the kings of the Yadu dynasty. In this, he had the cooperation of other demons.
Let's hear the list.
Pralamba,
Oh yeah, troublemaker.
Baka,
Deadly.
goose-like. Chanura,
Very powerful, fierce.
fierce. Trinivarta,
Very
bag of
destructive.
wind.
Bag of wind.
Agasura,
Snake.
reptilian. Mustika, nice mustache. Arista,
His
a record label.
Bull.
Magilla,
Gorilla.
aka Dvavida. Putina,
Yeah, witch.
witchy woman. Keishi,
Evil horse.
Danuka,
Evil
Danuka,
donkey.
jackass. Banasura.
Oh,
Na-
evil.
I confused Banasura with Narakasura.
He had many arms. Right?
Yeah, what's the difference between Banasura and Narakasura? I thought they were the same person, actually.
We're gonna have all. By the time we read the 10th canto this time, we're gonna have all this down organized.
You're gonna have so many demons in your head.
Me or you?
And many other demoniac kings on the surface of the earth. So they're all joining sides now with Kamsa. And Krishna's going to take them all out. Persecuted by demoniac kings, the Yadavas left their own kingdom
They're on the run.
and entered various others, like those of the Kurus, Panchalas, Kekayas, Shalvas, Vidarbhas, Nishadas, Videhas, and the Koshalas. So all the kings, the good kings, they had to take cover because the demons are rising strong. This
We can
happens. This happens all over.
It's historic, right? Well, you see those old cities in Europe and India, wherever they have the big walls, and sometimes you got to go inside that kingdom and take shelter of them, right?
Yeah.
So the Yadus are like, Kamsa's become very powerful, and he's bent on killing all these other members of the Yadu dynasty, and he's very powerful. Sometimes they're having to go, we need to team up. We need to go into your fort, and let's, they're taking shelter of these
Crush
other.
them.
Yeah.
The Lord ordered Yogamaya.
Some of the relatives, however.
Some of the relatives, however, began to follow Kamsa's principles and act in his service. After Kamsa, the son of Ugrasen, killed the 6 sons of Devakī, a plenary portion of Krishna entered Devaki's womb as her 7th child, arousing her pleasure and lamentation.
Why pleasure and lamentation?
Well, she's excited. I think it's very natural.
could feel
for
it.
A mother to feel like, oh my God. Also, pleasure and lamentation. And she understands, like, I'm going to lose this son.
He's going to die at the hands of Kamsa.
The plenary portion is celebrated by great sages as Ananta, who belongs to Krishna's 2nd quadruple expansion.
Okay.
What?
So Krishna expands into 4 and then into another 4. So there's 2 quadruple expansions. Within that is Ananta. But this is Balaram, who's also going to, from Balaram, all these others expand. And Balaram is this, we call him the original guru. He's the original servant. He's a embodiment of service to Krishna, as we all are meant to be. Right?
He's going to appear like a miscarriage. Like
I suppose you could say. I mean,
she's going to lighten up. She's going to light up like God's entered her body.
Yeah, right.
And her husband's going to be like, "What is going on with you? You look as
You're looking
bright
great
and
today.
as shiny as ever. You're beautiful today, despite you being chained in a dungeon."
Right.
And she's like, I don't know. Something's came over me. And so, but it's going to appear like a miscarriage. And then the child will enter. Yogamaya specifically takes this child and puts her in the womb of Rohini, one of Vasudev's other wives.
Transfer.
So,
Okay, so,
to
so now
protect-
that now that all the lower nature, the lust, greed, anger, etc., have all died
Mm.
and been removed from the womb and killed, now the birth of the very auspicious birth, the birth of Guru, right, of spiritual strength, appears in the womb of Devakī.
People should know this. This is good, simple trivia. Okay, Bunky, you hear me? That the 6 children were killed, but then the 7th child, who is Balaram, right? He gets born, but then he gets moved to another womb, okay? Mystically by Yogamaya. The old switcheroo of the womb.
Okay.
Now, then the 8th child is going to be Krishna, but he gets the switcheroo into Vasudev's going to carry that child, physically carry that child to Yashoda across the river. That's the famous picture
And then another
of
switcheroo.
Vasudev carrying a baby on his head. Okay, so to protect the Yadus, that's Krishna's family, his personal devotees from Kamsa's attack, Krishna, the personality of Godhead, Vishvatma, the
That means-
supreme soul of everyone,
Yeah.
ordered Yogamaya as follows. So here's what Krishna is going to instruct.
Maybe we
God.
ought to hold it right here. Then leave this as the
Okay.
cliffhanger. But Vishvatma is a very interesting name, very interesting term, because it literally means the soul of the universe.
The Atma of the Vishva.
Yeah, the soul of the universe. It's a very interesting, especially Ramanujacharya, he wrote a lot on this idea, conceiving of Vishnu as the soul of the universe. The universe is a living body,
Yeah.
and it's Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is its soul, right? Lord Vishnu is the soul within that body that gives it life. And just as our soul spreads its consciousness throughout the entire body, Vishnu's consciousness penetrates the entire universe. And that's literally what Vishnu means, when it permeates.
Mm.
And so that soul of the universe, that Vishvatma, also enters in to the body of every living being. So we are in one sense in the body of Vishnu, because the universe is the body of Vishnu, and Vishnu is within us. He's in us and we're in him. And we get a lot of Eastern talk, within and without of everything. This is an
unfathomable.
explanation of it. Yeah, Vishvatma.
All right.
Ready for some takeaways?
Ready.
No one expects the switcheroo in the womb.
It's true.
That's one of the takeaways.
The
Right.
old
Nobody
switcheroo.
expects the old womb switcheroo.
1, 2, switcheroo.
I wonder historically how many babies have been switched by mistake in the hospital.
Or intentional.
Oh, it used to happen all the time.
All
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. Left and right. Before DNA tests, forget about it.
Yeah.
You might have been switched. Actually, you kind of look like your
You
brother.
may have
I
been
look like
switched.
all my brothers. I don't.
Yeah.
They didn't switch me.
You all might have been switched.
Every time a child's born, switch them. Every time one of these capos is born.
Ah. All right, our takeaways. Real growth is about letting go of what doesn't serve you.
Okay.
Mhm.
Kill it.
There's a lot of killing and murder.
Kaustubha, come on.
You don't blossom until you break out of the bud.
Okay.
I'm going to call this the murder episode.
The result of giving your total self isn't death, but it's life.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. That's the sunny side of the story.
Yeah. We need a healthy fear of our lower natures to overcome them.
Yes.
To kill them.
A little more
To
violent.
kill them.
Well, that's what is kill your lust, anger, greed, and illusion for God to appear.
Violently.
Very good.
Read and accept everything as a blessing, even the tragedies.
Okay.
Tragic.
I thought he was going to read the comic books as well as the sacred Shastra.
Why not?
That too. Fear can drive you nuts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Swallow the horse pill that there's a benevolent hand behind the murder.
It's a big one, but you got to swallow it.
But don't choke on the horse pill and die.
I hate to even say this one. I'm not
Say it,
even
Mara.
gonna
You have to say
You
it.
wrote it. You
I'm
said
surprised you
Let's
didn't.
do that.
I'm surprised you didn't leave this for and.
Well, I didn't want to end on this note, actually. I thought about
Okay.
this being the last one.
right.
Sometimes killing babies is okay.
That should have been the
come
end.
on.
That should have been the
You said
end.
it.
No, we're not ending with that.
That should have been.
And
Okay.
This is, you know what? No, we're not going to even say that.
It
We're
already too late.
retracting that from the airwaves.
Well, it's true.
Oh, well, they're going to quote you in
Ganga did it.
100 years.
Gunga did it. So
and
you're
They're
saying it
gonna
was
quote- You want to
wrong
be
when she-
quoted that?
Are you
like
saying
how we remember Benjamin Franklin quotes?
just
They're
saying
going to
it's-
pull up Kaustubha, we're not this body.
it's
Um,
truth,
we are
Raghunath?
within-
It's a big
okay.
horse pill, and you got to swallow it.
I swallowed it. I understand it, but it's context.
you ready
They're
for
going
the
to
last
quote you
one?
out of context and cancel you 100 years from now. There's going to be a statue of Kaustubha.
If that's
There's
what
gonna
it
be a
takes to
bunch
speak
of-
truth,
There's going to be a bunch of college students that are going to be rocking the Kaustubha statue.
if that's what it
Hitting
means
it
to
with a
speak the
baseball
truth,
bat.
I will still speak the truth.
Be like Balaram.
Is that it? Be like Balaram?
You
Yeah,
see,
that's
that was
the last one.
anticlimactic.
I know. But I
But
guess
it's
we should
note to end on.
get switched in the womb, perhaps.
The old womb switcheroo. We already talked about that. We already had that.
All right, you guys. And Brajasundari Radha.
I see Brooks
who is
says,
the
"Love your
girl
mother."
born? Brajasundari Radha. You got to know these things.
What did she say?
Who was the girl in the womb?
Okay, we're gonna find out not next show, but on Monday.
Can I shame her a little bit first?
No,
No, we can't trivia shame.
Artite says the womberoo.
It's the old woomaroo.
Raghunath, one time you did this thing you were teaching asana at the Eco Village, and you're teaching them the 1-2 switcheroo. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I know what the switcheroo is. And that's when we go from Kodanyasana 2 to Kodanyasana 1.
And you said
vice
1,
versa.
2 switcheroo, but then right there your pants.
I don't remember that, Kaustubha. It's
Yeah.
interesting that you do.
1, 2 switcheroo.
You have a whole collection of embarrassing Raghunath moments, it seems.
Mostly because you share them all the time.
Yeah, you do share them a lot.
You know
right?
what? It's called vulnerability. It's a good thing.
So then why are you complaining?